At TSR, we believe that a woman's place is wherever she places her trail. Welcome, you're watching the Thrift Store Rundown, celebrating Women's History Month by doing what we do best, bringing Hollywood home on a budget. The city of Townsville, I hear, is a buzz with excitement, knowing that it's definitely cheap of pop culture criticism, reporting to a certain Mr. Whitewell. It's about to grade the Powerpuff Girls Powerzine, Cartoon Network's official, one-time-only magazine chronicling the city's most mighty munchkins. We have an exclusive episode guide, fun facts and secrets from every episode of the first 2 seasons, interviews with Blossom, Bubbles, and Buttercup. What's up with Townsville fashion? Its chief critic of pop culture, a certain Mr. Whitewell, critiques the Denizen style. Plus, free pinups, puzzles, and more. All of this for $1.99 out of retail prices of $5.99 in the US and $8.99 in Canada. $3 more. It comes with a stern warning on the spine. Do not let Letty Baxter buy this magazine. Who's Letty Baxter? Well, if you've seen the episode Collect Her, he was probably the biggest Powerpuff Girls fan out there. He wanted to collect every piece of Powerpuff merch in the city, including the girls themselves. He failed. And Letty, you're gonna fail in this context too, because this is one collector's item you ain't ever getting. At least, not for $5.99. In this part of Townsville, anyway. Patterson, New Jersey. And that's coming from somebody who's not the biggest Powerpuff Girls fan, but is a major fan of all things nostalgic, especially in the early 2000s, when I was just a wee little one. So with that said, let's take a look here. From the InDepth Profiles onward, we begin with a Q&A with Blossom. When I'm not saving the world, I like learning and studying. I think of all the 3, she's probably my favorite, the baddest of the bunch. We also have here Bubbles, the cutest of the bunch. I can kick monster butt just as well as my sisters can. And our third and final PPG profile is Buttercup, the guest of honor for today's video, because I got, for 50% off the price of $2.99, a Buttercup plushie. I know I said Blossom was my favorite, but I couldn't resist picking her up. I'll put her to the side and we'll profile her a little bit later. She likes giving somebody a good knuckle sandwich. All 3 of the Powerpuff Girls, you and I know, certainly know how to whoop ass. As a matter of fact, the term whoop ass, these 3 were created as part of a Cal Arts University project called Whoop Ass Stew from creator Craig McCracken. Obviously, he had to clean a few things up for Cartoon Network and pitching the show to their bosses at Hanna-Barbera. Back then, Cartoon Network was the land of Scooby-Doo and Bugs Bunny, the best of Hanna-Barbera and Warner Brothers content. But the Powerpuff Girls were the pioneering cartoons that put Cartoon Network on the map in terms of original shows. So much so, a movie was developed, as was a whole line of Powerpuff products. We'll show you the 16-page product guide a little bit later. But for now, let's show you the official episode guide. Every episode from the first 2 seasons. Up close and personal. See who's in each episode, who said what, little stuff you may have missed, and of course, how each episode begins. The city of Townsville. And some funny variation on the line from narrator Tom Kenny, who also played the mayor. Oh, that adorable, naive mayor. Plus, they spoil the endings. And who are they? Well, Amy Keating-Rogers, Elizabeth McConnell, and Heather Moore Johnson. As a matter of fact, a myriad of show writers alongside creator and executive producer Craig McCracken contribute to this collector's item. As we go over the episode guide, let me tell you about a few of my favorite episodes. And yes, even though the Powerpuff Girls isn't really my favorite cartoon, I do enjoy them every now and then. So, down here we have Mommy Furist. That's the second story from episode 2. The Scoop gives you a brief episode summary. We have here a guide to villains, characters, superpowers, quotes from the episodes, and for some episodes, little behind-the-scenes factoids, plus stuff you may have missed from your first viewing of Mommy Fierce or every other episode that's represented in this 2-season guide. Plus you have one still per each episode, each 11-minute story. As we go down the line here, there are some more episodes to highlight. Not a lot of them because, again, I'm not the biggest Powerpuff fan. But I also like Supervillain right here from episode 15, right after the episode I just mentioned, Collect Her, with the aforementioned Lenny Baxter, who is banned from collecting any Powerpuff merchandise in the city of Townsville. And here, in this little corner of the city of Patterson, anyway. I like episode 20, A Very Special Blossom and Daylight Savings, highlighted here on the bottom. This is a poster you can take a pair of scissors to and hang on your wall. Whether like this, a map of Townsville, or like this, a hand-drawn autograph creation by Craig McCracken of all of the citizens of Townsville. The Powerpuff Girls, Professor Utonium, the Mayor, the Rogues Gallery of Evil, and at the very top here, the guy who also contributes to the Powerpuff magazine with his own mini magazine where you flip this one over. Mojo Jojo. It's the Mojo Jojo Monkey Zine, which I'll highlight a little bit later. Again, you just flip this over, and it takes you right to Mojo Jojo. Anyway, I also love Coup de Grace, the city of Townsville, where love is in the air. And of course, the dreaded smell of cooties. Twisted Sister Just Desserts, that is a sequel to Supervillain with the Smith family, the evil Smith family. I love that episode too. I forgot to highlight that. Anyway, moving on, past the pinups of Blossom, Buttercup, and Bubbles, we have here an interview with the Will McCracken, Craig McCracken, Emmy nominee for the Powerpuff Girls, Emmy Award winner for his next creation, his masterpiece of a cartoon, which wasn't exactly branded as such. They moved on from that phase when they began the CN era, the era I know best from Cartoon Network. Foster's Home for Imaginary Friends. Anyway, he speaks about the development, the creation, the animation, and some of his favorite episodes of the Powerpuff Girls. He even disses on his love life, saying that yes, he has a girlfriend. I wonder if that's Lauren Faust, who came to work on the Powerpuff Girls. They have since married and co-developed Foster's Home for Imaginary Friends. Anyway, this is an interview with Elizabeth McConnell. Don't tell the girls, but the professor didn't really create them. This guy did. And when he did, he helped put Cartoon Network on the map. This is the special product preview. 16 pages worth of Powerpuff merchandise that Lenny Baxter, I think, would die trying to get. From beach towels to mouse pads, from sunglasses to jeans, from lunchboxes to name tags and socks and toys and clothing, keychains, you name it, it's in this guide. I'm not saying I'm going to buy all the merchandise highlighted in here if I see it at the shop, but I will hunt down the ones that stick out to me the most. So as you can tell, based upon the product guide alone, there's plenty of sugar and spice to go around, and hopefully not a lot of chemical X left behind. There's more to be found at the Powerpuff Girls official website, or by searching them via America Online, or just going to CartoonNetwork.com. And even outside of the Powerpuff Girls, they have a whole line of Cartoon Network advertisements, such as web premiere tunes and a promo for Cartoon Fridays, the first iteration of their new Friday night programming block at the time. I grew up in the CN City era, so I watched Cartoon Network Fridays with Tommy and Tara and a live audience filled with children and musical guests. But having watched a lot of CCF blocks on YouTube, it's equally as awesome. So about the more as advertised on the front, well, the more comes by way of really cool games, award sets, award jumble, Mad Libs, a decoder, a quiz to determine your power pulse. Plus the Powerpuff Girls profiling some of their favorite heroes, fictional and otherwise. All of this coming together for $2. I gotta say, if they put out a classified ad in a Townsville newspaper for a grassroots effort a volunteer network of Powerpuff Girls fans to come up with the next issue, sign me up. And speaking of classifieds, they're in here too, along with postcards, periscopes. Those are Powerpuff-fueled horoscopes. I'm a Sagittarius, so time to celebrate. A project you've been working on is finally coming to an end, and it beats the tar out of the competition. Only one other YouTube channel has profiled a Powerpuff magazine, so hopefully this beats them by a mile. But I like to think that as a group of Powerpuff Girls fans, that this is more of a collaborative effort to spread the word around that this type of merchandise should never be overlooked. We also have an advice column with Professor Utonium. A guide to the city of Townsville, and a few of the Powerpuffs' favorite things. And I gotta say, all in all, this is probably one of my new favorite Powerpuff Girls things. This is the aforementioned Cartoon Fridays. Equally as awesome as Cartoon Network's Fridays with Tommy and Tara. But back then on CCF, they had a hodgepodge of cartoon superstars. Like the Powerpuff Girls, like Time Squad, like Ed, Edd and Eddy, like the Grim Adventures of Billy and Mandy, so on and so forth, hosting their Friday night blocks. Oh, it was so cool. But I'm not stopping there. Do you remember Little Buttercup? Yep, I want Blossom, but I'll take Buttercup any day. See, whoops. Well, you get it. As you can see, this was geared towards the reboot from Emmy-winning creator of Wow Wow Wumpsie on Nick Jr., Bob Boyle. He tried. Oh, he tried. But the reboot really didn't do the original series' legacy justice. That's why Craig McCracken is coming back to do it right. And not only that, but he's also rebooting Foster's Home for Imaginary Friends. He'd better get it right. Because that is the reboot I will take more to heart than the Powerpuffs. Anyway, this was made by the Toy Factory in San Antonio, Texas. And let's see here. New material only. It doesn't give you instructions on how to wash. Recommended for all ages. Polyester fibers. And by the way, embedded in these polyester fibers are a lot of pieces of hair. I brushed most of it off when I first got it for half off $3, but some remnants remain, as you can see here. And here. So yeah, Buttercup definitely needs a good brushing. Not a bath. She smells good, but a brushing. God knows I'm gonna need all the help I can get if I try to give her a bath. You remember that episode, right? Oh my goodness. I'm recollecting so many Powerpuff Girls episodes in one vid, and I haven't watched them all. I haven't even watched the majority of them. I guess it's time we now look at DVDs. But until then, this, 5 out of 5. This because of the hair, 4.5 out of 5. Grand total, 9.5 out of 10. The next time you find yourself having the best rainy day adventure ever, and you find it's incomplete without a little bit of reading material and a special friend to share it with, I don't care whether it's for the first time or once again, and again, and again, your day will be saved thanks to the Powerpuff Girls! And hopefully, the Thrift Store Rundown. Thanks for watching TSR. Now, to see another awesome review like this one, click here. If you want to become a Hollywood bargain hunter, click here to subscribe. And I'll catch you on the thrift side.